Welcome to the Utah Puck Report. I love doing these episodes where we get a panel involved, and I'm so lucky to have so many friends that are knowledgeable in hockey, have been around hockey for a long time, and I can reach out to them for advice and also to do a podcast like this where we're going to break down a lot of stuff today. And we've got some really cool segments. But the first thing that starts out is something that I'm not proud of. I'm not excited about even talking about. We've seen it all over Twitter and TikTok or X, whatever you want to call it. And we've seen all over the place where players are attacking refs or parents are getting out of control. And I'm like, well, Utah's pretty crazy, but we're not there. And then it happens. So I reached out to friends of mine that have refed for a long time. And then, of course, I've when something like this happens, I feel like I got to talk to Mason Mannek because Mason, you're a pro. You played major juniors. There's only like a handful of people from Utah that can say that. The other guests I have today are Bill McCloud, who's been a ref for 11 years. He played hockey all his life. He knows it. And then Ben Wilner. Ben, I've got so many things I can say, but this is a family-friendly show, and so I can't say most of them. But Ben has also been a ref. Ben, I got to tell you, though, it's funny because I saw you start responding to some of the stuff when I posted it. And you're like one of the only ones that would actually say something because everybody else I reached out to is like, I can't say anything because they're afraid of some kind of repercussions from the league or from USA Hockey or whatever. Ben, is it really that bad in Utah? And now you're out of here. Like you live in Florida now. You don't care.
Yeah, I don't. I'd say
So now you can say whatever you want to say about whoever you want to say. And that's why I thought you'd be a good person to have on the show. And is it really that scary when something like this happens to voice your opinion on a show like mine that nobody listens to?
I mean, I don't think so. I think if you're a player in the league, like you should stand up for the refs. I mean, I started refing 3, 4 years ago and just started out mainly doing beer league. And I mean, I've played hockey my whole life. And honestly, the first day that I went out there, I like almost didn't know where to stand. I was like, oh, like I got to move. I can't just watch the game, you know? And like as I got better, I got to do college and juniors and it was a lot of fun. But, like as a player in the league, like you should stand up for those guys. Like I can't believe someone didn't grab the guy or, get in between. But as far as like saying something, like why not? Like you say whatever you want. Like everybody's a keyboard warrior online. You know? I mean,
Um,
it was D3, so I'm not really afraid of those guys either.
D3 Oval. Bill McCloud, longtime rough. And are you still roughing?
Well, I call it retired a while ago.
Okay.
About
Well,
probably
your
about
hands are
10
full
years
of
ago.
Utah Outliers, right?
Yeah. About 10 years ago, I shifted gears, so I don't officiate anymore. But I've officiated all levels right up to the college level here in Utah. And so, I have a lot of experience, especially with the player that was reffing. The
Okay,
ref,
yeah.
I have a history with him. So 20-year history, actually. So I have a lot of input on it and, but also officiating it as a whole too. So
And Mason, you grew up here. You probably played with the ref that's involved. I've gone back and forth on who I was going to name in this, and I think I will name the ref because I actually really like him as a person and as a friend. I've played with him. I played with his entire family and his like extended family. They're a Utah hockey family. They've been involved for a long time. I think maybe the best thing to do is just show the video.
yeah,
And we can step through it a little bit and just figure out what happened. And now, can everybody see this?
yeah.
Yep.
So this is the Oval. This is apparently it's a playoff game. And if I'm wrong, I don't care. Like it's just a hockey game. I don't care if it's the championship. It's a men's league hockey game. You're out there to have. For me, I go out to play. I don't play a lot of men's league anymore. But when I do, the number one thing I want to do is just have fun. The number two thing I want to do is burn some calories because I'm older now and that's harder now, as everybody in men's league should admit to, right? Maybe not you, Mason. You're still in your almost prime, but
Yeah.
but for the rest of us, men's league is just about being able to get out and play with the guys. And honestly, I've talked about this on a few episodes lately. I've been skating with an older group. I have 2 teams I'm on. I'm on a team that's really good and competitive, and then I'm on a team that's over 50, and I'm 50. I'm almost 52. I'm the youngest guy on that team. That is currently my favorite team to play with because we go, nobody cares. We skate our butts off. We have fun. I sweat like crazy. And then I just hang out. We're there for 3-4 hours. We get there before and we skate and we have fun. And that's what men's league's about. At least in my eyes. And I hope I'm not wrong with that because man, I love it. I love playing with those guys and I love that style of hockey. So here's the video. We've all watched it a million times, and I'm going to play it. So puck comes over. You see it go back. There's a goal scored. They're arguing that it's a hand pass. The ref comes over, and he's talking. The 2 players get pretty aggressive. The ref puts his hand in the face of the other player, and then you got, yeah, ridiculous. I'm surprised the ref went down.
Wow.
All right, so you see him attack the official, right? Let's go back. I've watched it a million times. I can't tell what happens with the puck. But then if you watch again, the guys are arguing. The ref gets over there, starts talking, and the ref puts his hands up in his face. And it goes both ways. And then the ref gets hit multiple times. You see him get kind of pushed. You see the stick kind of hit him in the crotch, which is pathetic. And then he gets knocked down. And then the guy's still going after him. All right, so tell me about the first time you guys saw that. And Bill, I'm going to start with you.
So I was at the Outliers game, and the referees that finished, I go in there after the game and speak with them, and we have a couple of drinks, and but they showed me the video right away, and I said, so that I couldn't see who it was, but I said that was Jake Beard, wasn't it? That was my very first reaction, and it was Chris McPhee. I'm sure you know who he is, and he said, "Yep, it was him." And he also had kind of a disgusted kind of look on his face as well. But I mean, there's a couple of things that happen in that video that, and as an official, they teach you, and anybody that's officiated, even on a higher level where there's a lot of physical play, is one, you don't go into a situation like that without your partner, and Jake ran right into it. He got in between 2 players. He was in the middle of the pack pretty much. That's an unsafe place for an official to be. Second thing, you try not to provoke a situation, and Jake's a rough around the edges kind of guy. He's old school hockey, and I can see him being like, hey, what are you doing? And the moment that it escalated to that far, but in the end, first of all, I don't condone any violence against officials. I know it's hard right now for them to find officials in Utah. They ask me to come back all the time, and I'm like, no. So it's hard to find officials for one. And the fact that Jake Beard stepped up and says, hey, you know what? I don't play hockey anymore, but I'd love to kind of help out and officiate again or do it again. And, the fact that he did that, this doesn't look good for Utah officials. It doesn't make anybody want to be an official. It doesn't make anybody want to go out and step on the ice when we already have a hard situation finding officials. So that's my initial concern. Do I think it was probably avoidable? I don't know. I had a run-in with Jake Beard a couple of months ago at the Oval myself. I play men's league too, and but in the end, you leave it on the ice. Again, I respect the Beard family, and 30 years I've been playing hockey with them or officiating their games, and it's not an easy thing to do to play in the league that you ref in, and these players remember things and stuff, and so who knows, there could have been bad blood there. There's a whole bunch of situations that would have ticked this player off, but in the end, it really is a disgusting display, especially like a tarnish on Utah men's hockey, and it's not good for us at all.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Mason, we haven't heard much from you yet. Have you ever had to officiate as you've been working your way up the ladder?
No, I haven't had much desire either. I'm not gonna lie to you. So, not yet. But
and watching a video like this, does this make you want to jump right out?
Yeah, not quite. I think I like my spot just not wearing the stripes. But yeah, it's kind of a weird deal. Like for me, just watching it, it's like from a neutral perspective, there was probably things said that we don't know, and like as a player, like you guys all know, refs, like every one of us has been mad at a ref. That's just the way hockey is. It's like but at the same time, like they're untouchable. And so like you can't just go hit a ref, or there's going to be like some serious discipline stuff going on. So I don't know what was said. It's hard for me to like have a super big opinion, because like for the player, like no way, like you can't just go knock a ref down, right? But at the same time, like if something was said that could set someone off, then like I've been there too. So it's
Right.
from not trying to be super hypocritical. It's just like there's so much gray area for me from just watching the video to like put like say like, oh, this guy's in the wrong, or this guy's in the wrong. Obviously, like this is like the main reason that I don't have any desire to play men's league anymore.
Yeah.
As like as I haven't
That
played
makes
yet.
sense. Honestly,
So.
it made sense when you said you don't want to ref, and it also makes sense when you said you don't want to play men's league. There's a reason I don't like playing at the Oval, and that's one of the reasons. Like it's weird to me at all the different levels. It's just it feels like a different hockey to me.
Yeah.
And maybe it's changed over the last couple of years. It's changed who's running it, but it is weird. It's different to me there, and I I don't know. It's different. Ben, let's get to you. So at the end of this, we're gonna, or not at the end, but when we stop talking about this part, we're going to come to what we're going to call the captain's court, and we're all going to come up with a decision on should Jake Beard be disciplined. And Jake's nice enough; he told me I could use his name, and like I've told you, I love Jake Beard. I've played a lot of hockey with Jake Beard. I've played a lot of hockey with the entire Beard family and the extended family. And I know you know what you're getting with Beard. And that's something. Like at least you know what you're getting, right? And again, Bill, just like you said, he stepped up and said, "Yeah, I'll ref." Ben, what's your take on all this? Ben, you don't live here anymore. You long-term ref.
I mean, for me, once I heard it was Jake Beard reffing, I couldn't believe the other guy walked out of there alive.
That crossed my mind.
Yeah, I've known Jake forever. I coached Lindros. Like, I mean, Jake's a good guy. I mean, I've been at games where I've seen him like one punch a dude and take him clean off his feet, right? But that was as a player, and like he's changed a lot since then, right? Like, I mean, I haven't seen him in a couple of years, but the last couple of games that I played with him, he's great. He's great to me. He's always been nice to me off the ice, you know. But my first thoughts when I saw that, I was like, who's getting that worked up over beer league?
Yeah.
And I think for me, like coming down here to Tampa, I was just excited to like get to play while I was here, and I wanted to make some friends. And I've just started to care way less about beer league and just hanging out with the boys. Like, yeah, I'll get pissy if we lose, or if more so if I play bad, but like I don't care if we lose. I don't care if the ref makes a bad call anymore. Like, yeah, I've yelled at a ref before. I'm with you, Mason. We've all done it.
Yeah.
But you know what? At this point, who cares? Like, no one's going to the show. Like, it just go out, have a good time, have beers with the guys in the locker room. But yeah, I mean, it's disgusting. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous to like spear a ref with your stick like that, and then to knock him over. I mean, the guy's got little to no gear on, and you're gonna do that. Like, I don't know. I thought it was absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. And on Jake's side, I mean, he pushed the guy. He shouldn't have done that. Me like starting to ref, like I didn't really open my mouth much in the beginning, but once I started getting a little more confident, I would chirp back a little bit and defend myself. But like in beer league, I would just have a little bit of fun with it. Somebody tells you suck. It's like, well, dude, you play in a lower league than me. Like, why you give me a hard time? But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just like you can't hit a ref. Like,
yeah,
why that worked up over beer league?
100%. All right, so captain's corner, and I've watched it, and I'm gonna break it down because I reached out to the player that was involved, and I reached out to the player that Jake Beard had put his hand up in his face, and then I reached out to Jake. I talked to the parties involved. I tried to get as much information as I could, and the conclusion I came up with is twofold, and we're gonna be like whatever that judge show is on TV where there's multiple judges, and we can all have our opinions, and we'll see where it works out. the defending people were saying, look, it was an intense game. They missed a hand pass, which led to a game-winning goal. I don't know if it was overtime. Again, I don't care. I really don't care. It's men's league. I don't care if it was for the championship. I don't care if it was the first game of the year. They're saying they missed, and I watched it over and over and over again. They're saying they missed a hand pass. Right or wrong, doesn't matter. You got to go and burn some calories. So, but I also noticed two different times, and Bill, you pointed this out. I noticed two different times that Jake was out of position, including when the goal was scored or when the hand pass could have been there, and also when he got kind of more involved, he kind of skated into it, and then I think, and maybe I'm going to give Jake the benefit of the doubt and say maybe he was maybe trying to say, like, explain it. But then I also saw those two players being very emotional, very aggressive, and then Jake stopped one, and I think the other kid decided, all right, now I've got the opportunity to cross this boundary, and he hit the ref once, and then it was completely irrational, and it just crossed the line, and then spearing the ref, and then pushing Jake down. So my final judgment is this. I would go 6 months suspension for Jake as a ref for initiating contact, possibly, from what the video shows. I'm going to say he initiated contact, even though I know the guys were coming at him, and I know that's what Jake's saying. But he got, like Bill pointed out, he got himself in a position maybe he shouldn't have been in. And then I'm going to reduce that sentence by 3 months because, as Ben said, the fact that Jake didn't get up and beat that dude's butt, because I've seen Jake fight, I don't know. I'm going to say that I've played 300 games with Jake, so I've probably seen him fight 270 times.
Right? I've tried to break up Jake Beard fights. It's not fun.
So Jake, I know you're going to watch this, and I know it sucks listening to all of us talk about you, but I'm going from 6 months to 3 months because I respect the fact that Jake grew up and he didn't just jump back up and take, because I know that Jake could take any fourth league guy. I guarantee, I don't care how old Jake is now, I wouldn't fight him. And I'm older than Jake, so I won't fight anybody at this point because I've been in 100 fights as it is. I've yet to win one, so I'm not going to start winning them now. We all know that. So on the players, I say it's a 2 to 5 year suspension. I'm leaning more towards 5 years. When I first saw it, I said lifetime suspension.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you this, a fourth league guy that admits he was a JV player or whatever, if you give him a 2 year suspension or a 3 year or a 4 year, he probably just quits hockey.
Yeah.
Yep.
And just goes and buys season tickets at the Utah Hockey Club. That's kind of my take on it. And those two players are going to be pissed at me for however I view this. I tried to view it that's just Jay Stevens, the guy that I've been around hockey since I'm 15 years old. I've watched a million games. I've played in a million games. I've played a million men's league games. This bullcrap of abusive officials has to stop.
Yeah.
And I would be fine with USA Hockey just banning him from life, or for life, not from life, for life. And I honestly wouldn't feel that bad if he got criminal charges brought on him. Because, Ben, I've had you on the show multiple times talking about how hard it is to get officiating.
Yeah.
I mean, normally when we have you on, it's just to make fun of you for being Ben's league hero.
Yeah.
But it's getting to the point now where, and I told my kids this when I refed, or not when I refed, when I coached. I coached for 19 years. And at the beginning of the year, I told them the same thing JP Parisi told me when I was, let's just say 100 years ago. JP said, I can't do a French accent, but he said, just be glad they showed up. Just be glad we can start the game. They're going to drop the puck. Hopefully they get offsides right. Anything else that happens, we're just going to deal with. That was in 1992. And he was worried about how many officials we were getting then. Here we are in 2025 where nobody wants to ref because they constantly get abused verbally. Every freaking play they get verbally abused. So anyway, I don't want this to be a 2-hour episode, but that's my view. Bill, let's go with you. What do you think should happen?
You know, I think, I've been part of match penalty hearings, and I'm sure this kid got a match penalty. I mean, and I think you have to take a step back, and the video doesn't tell the whole story. But in the end, I think and you have to look at what the real call is. It's an abuse of an official. And I'm not sure, you know, again, a month ago, Jake and I even got into it. I wasn't happy with the way he was calling the game, and I chirped him and he chirped me and whatever. He threw me in the box. But in the end, violence doesn't answer anything. And I think no matter what Jake did, I don't think it warranted him being treated the way he got treated. He was hurt pretty badly from it. I saw pictures of his face when he hit the boards. So, not to mention, the embarrassment of it and everything. But I'm leaning more on Jake's side on this one. I don't think there's anything that he as an official did to deserve what he got. And so I think look at the video, maybe I mean, have him take a step back from refereeing for a little bit, but in the end, that player should be like, I agree with you, like banned for life. You have to set a precedence with this kind of behavior. And I think anybody that doesn't see a severe punishment for this says, oh, it's okay to treat officials this way. And you know what? It's not. It's never okay. And even myself, when I was upset with Jake a month ago, I was going to report it, and I was going to call Tammer, who runs the league. And you know what? After the game was over, I sat down in the locker room and I said, I'm not going to do anything, for that same reason. Like, we got our licks in and we walked away and we left it on the ice, and I never heard anything else from it. And so, but in this case, I really think, I'm sorry. I think that it's disgusting what the player did, and he should know better. He plays in a higher level of hockey, which means he's intelligent, which means he's played hockey for a while. And it's like anybody else that's played on all the levels. Yeah, you get feisty with the officials, but you don't get physical with them. And so, I would say that the player, I think banning him from life for hockey, you know what, sad, but he should have known better, and I think you have to put a severe punishment on this, not just for the state of Utah, but for, like you said, officials are I've seen so many videos of officials getting punched or pushed down on the ice. And, and it discourages anybody from wanting to officiate. And that we have to send a clear message that it's not okay to do this. As far as Jake goes, I mean, it's like you. I know the Beard family. I've been reffing their kids. I ref Jake's games. I've known them and watched them play hockey. And yeah, he's an aggressive guy. And I'll tell you what, that guy is pretty lucky that Jake didn't just wreck him.
Yeah.
Which says a lot about Jake too. It says he's grown up, says he's matured. And old Jake from 15 years ago would have, after getting knocked on his butt, would have gotten up and just annihilated that kid. He would have, I've seen him do it. So he's a repeat offender, but in the end, nobody, especially as an official, someone who's trying to help contribute to the game, does not deserve that kind of treatment. And that's just my take on it.
Okay, I like it. I like it. All right, Ben, you're up.
Yeah, I mean, I think, in Jake's position, like he could have skated away, right? Like he could have gone over by the box to the official circle and tried to get away from it, but he didn't. He went through the middle. He maybe said something, maybe didn't. Looked like he did, but he did push a player, right? And he kind of pushed him up in the cage area. So, I mean, that's kind of against the officials too, right? Like, it's not like the guy hit him first and he defended himself. He kind of sparked it. So, I definitely think he probably has to get, a couple of months, right? And kudos to him for not getting back up and doing what, Jake from 15 years ago would have done. But also, that was him as a player, not as a ref. So, we can't totally hold that against him. But yeah, a couple months for him. The player, I'm with you, a couple of years. Ban him from USA Hockey. I mean, yeah,
Couple of years, or do you want life?
I mean, it's tough because I'm thinking about it right now as a player, and if I got banned for life from hockey, I don't know what I would do with myself because I skate 4 or 5 times a week down here. So I don't know, but he needs to learn his lesson because that's just ridiculous. It doesn't matter, like you said, first game of the year, last game of the year, you don't hit a referee. So I think, yeah, I think 5 years is a great starting point.
All right. I like it. All right, Mason, what do you got for us?
So for me, you guys all have some officiating experience. I don't. So this is strictly from a player standpoint, but it's so common knowledge that this is something you don't do. Like you can't just go off on a ref like that. And like, I don't know anything about like where Jake was supposed to stand or nothing like that. That's not in my wheelhouse. But like I said, as a player, and then like the spear too, like that to me, that's like just as bad as the rest, because to spear somebody, that's some serious like intent and in a bad spot too, right? So you're talking about like sentences and all that stuff. Like, I mean, yeah, like because Jake was in it, you probably have to do something for him. But for as bad as it was from the player standpoint, like maybe it's something you say 5 years and you reevaluate, see where his headspace is or whatever, and then
Like
you
a
can make
probationary hearing after
yeah
5 years?
yeah maybe, because like I mean, like Ben said, like hockey's a part of all of our lives. So like if you try to have some sort of like forgiveness, I guess, like maybe, but is I guess the biggest thing would be to make it bad enough to where this doesn't happen again. Because like I don't know what's been going on with hockey lately, but it seems like a national thing where like parents are hitting refs or players are hitting refs, and then like Utah has eyes on it now because we have an NHL team, and then all of a sudden this comes up. It's not a good look for us. So I would say it's just something bad, something to where a lesson's learned, and like this doesn't happen again. Because like you open the show with, like men's league should be somewhere like you have fun, you go out, you sweat, you have like fun with your friends. Like for me, like since I stopped playing, like the locker room was like what I missed the most, probably. And so like men's league should still be that for people. And then like to go and have this happen, it's like it ruins everything.
Yeah, it does. All right, so your final view on this is that guy gets 5 years and then a probationary hearing, and then you don't really have a comment on whether or not Jake deserves any punishment because you have a ref.
He probably needs something, right? Because like he did make contact. Like I know
Okay.
refs can't do that, but as long as a player gets a lot more than he got, then I guess I'll be happy.
So, and it's funny, stuff like this has happened before, but there hasn't been video. But now everybody has video. Most rinks have video going the whole time. Most wives are watching or husbands are watching, and they got their cameras out or whatever. So I think maybe that's why we're seeing more of it. I mean, I had never seen anything like that in my life on the ice as a player. So I don't know what to say, but I want it to stop. And all right, that's probably enough of hammering that. And I appreciate you guys voicing your opinions on that. And as we go into this next segment, I'm gonna do a quick pause, and I'm gonna do a quick shout out to my sponsor that I was gonna talk about at the beginning, which is Larry H. Miller Toyota in Murray. And it's so big of them to step up as my sponsor. And I'm just so proud to be sponsored by Larry H. Miller Toyota in Murray that I started looking at buying another Toyota. And our family basically drives nothing but Toyota. Um, Obviously, I haven't for the last few years, and we all know why. And it has nothing to do with Toyota. It has to do with the fact that all of us play with a Mazda guy. So I've had a Mazda. But then I started looking at the new Forerunners. Have you guys seen the new Forerunners?
That's my wife's dream car. So stop talking, Jay.
Dude, I'm like, I'm just gonna go get one, and then I'm like, oh my heck, they got a hybrid too. So yeah, I mean, I will probably be in a Forerunner within the next. I actually was starting with Land Cruiser, but it's just me and my car most of the time. So a Land Cruiser's way more space than I need, and I started looking at. You're gonna see me in a Tacoma or a Forerunner here pretty quick, and we'll take a quick pause to introduce what we're gonna do is a fan segment where we're gonna do a fan spotlight. And Mason, this one you might appreciate because it's your uncle and your aunt. We're gonna spotlight Bryce Mannek and Nicole Mannek, who have recently became famous as not only owning the jumbotron at every Utah hockey game, but
and
also
the away rinks.
yeah, and then they go away too. So here's a quick spotlight from the Utah Puck Report. All right, we're here at the Delta Center. Bryce Maddock, long-time friend of mine, like teens. Nicole Mannek, I feel like I've known you at least 30 years. Absolutely. And it's been fun for me this year. You guys are everywhere. And from day one, the Manneks have owned the marquee, right? You guys have, your daughter.
It's been so much fun.
Yeah, your friends. So tell me, Nicole, I'm going to start with you.
Okay.
So I don't know how big you were into hockey before you married this guy.
Right.
But what has this team meant to you and your family? What has this done for you this year?
Um, First of all, I still can't believe it's happening here. It's a complete dream that we have the NHL in Utah. It's been so much fun. Um, and to be completely honest, our family has had an absolute blast this entire season. Um, as far as what it means to me, it's togetherness, and not just my family, but my friends, our hockey community. People that have never been to a hockey game in their lives experience it for the first time and sending me texts saying, I am hooked. I am hooked on hockey. This is amazing. I can't wait to go to my next one. When is it happening again? And truthfully, I have loved every single game, win or lose.
So Bryce, I was talking to you guys and I'm like, hey, we're getting an NHL team. I don't think you believe me. So tell me a little bit about what that was like when you realized it was really happening. Do you remember where you were when you actually heard the news that wasn't just from me, some guy that was making up stories?
I was. We were in Florida. The girls were running a race, and it was like 4:30. I got the email that we had a team. So, there was a lot of rumors and talks going on for a few weeks before that. But to actually have it, I was like, this can't be happening. NHL in Utah? You know how it is. We're such a small community, and then for us to get an NHL team was just surreal. It was amazing.
When you saw the ticket prices, was there any hesitation like, oh, I'm going to Grizzlies games at $13 a ticket, and then you see these ticket prices? Was there any hesitation, or you're like, I'm in 100%?
I was in 100% regardless. The ticket prices, honestly, are a little steep for the NHL, it seems like. We've been to a few games out of state, and it's been a lot cheaper to go. But I know it's good. We're bringing a lot of people in to come watch hockey that have never experienced hockey before. But for me, I had to do it. I wanted to be first in line. I wanted to get the tickets that I wanted to get. I actually wanted to get tickets on our defense side so I could see the opposition score twice, because I didn't think too much of having Phoenix come here and be in my team, because I'm a huge Red Wings fan, and you know that. But we weren't able to get those tickets, and now we have tickets on the other side for the blue line where we shoot twice, and it's amazing. I love it. I love this team. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
What did you think when you started seeing you guys' selves on the Jumbotron, every game, doing the Chug Fest, just even the intro, you can see you guys walking in, your whole family. What was that like for you?
Okay. Well, we have no control over the cameramen in the Delta Center Arena, for the record. Somehow they find us everywhere we go. Even when we're not here in Utah, a camera will find us. But it has been so much fun. And truthfully, it's just showing our excitement for this team. We absolutely love it. We love the fans. We want the fans to get excited. And that's truthfully what we're about. We just want everybody to have the best time and actually feel what we've truly felt for 30 plus years. So I think that's what it's all about for us. And when you see other people that you know on the Jumbotron, it's so exciting to be like, I know him, I worked with him, I saw her. Oh my
Well,
God.
half of them are your family, because if it's not you, it's Holger, it's Brandon's family. Can you tell me a little bit about your favorite moment here? So, you've been to every game. Actually, I'm gonna ask you a different question. You start thinking about that one.
Okay.
Tell me, how hard was it for you to go into Detroit? Please tell me you were cheering for the Utah Hockey Club. Were you split?
So I look at it like this way. It's like watching two of your kids play a game. Detroit to me has meant a ton to me. I've been to a lot of games there at the Joe, playoffs, Winter Classics. So it was honestly, it was hard. When Gunther scored that first goal, Nicole jumped up and I hesitated. And I'm like, this is weird. And what was even more weird about it is, as the game progressed, I watched Utah more than I watched Detroit. And when we won, I was super happy. I mean, this is my team. I feel like I'm vested with Utah. This is where I've been my whole life. I've played in Utah hockey since I was 4, coached a lot on the board. So I'm vested in Utah hockey, and I'm excited because what this is going to do for our youth programs. It's going to be huge. We're going to double in size, I think, within the next 5 years. Our try hockey for free was killer this year. I mean, it's our girls hockey is going to grow. So for the sport, this is awesome.
All right, here's the question.
I already know.
And it doesn't have to be in the Delta Center.
Sure, no.
Anywhere.
Actually,
What is your favorite moment of this season?
honestly, night one was complete magic. It truly was. The spirit that we felt here was like you couldn't even match what was going on here. Feeling that feeling of having our own team. I will say our last game that we just played was pretty dang exciting. Even though we lost, like I feel like that was truthfully the best game we had here in the Delta Center.
Well, that's funny because I was going to say that we talk about the feeling in the building.
Yeah.
And we had Bill Armstrong on KSL the next day, and he is just beaming with the Delta Center gets it. The Delta Center is just an amazing home. Yeah. And to come back from 3-0 against an original 6, a real giant. Who's the family's favorite player?
Oh, Carcone all the way.
He's Carcone. We love him.
Did you pick that?
He's amazing.
He is amazing.
He's fast. He's amazing. He's quick. Definitely under-recognized, I think, by the fans, and we love him. We think he's a great player.
He plays the game right. He plays a good 200-foot game. He's got speed. He knows how to back check. He knows how to forward check, and he knows how to bury it. So
we like him.
Big goal for him against Toronto. About 90 seconds before he scored that, I said, I tweeted that Carcone and Doan were on fire, and I said, we're going to come back from 3-0. This is going to solidify every fan in this building. And I think it'll mean as much to the team as the players. It's proving it to themselves. And I said, this is going to happen. Then I tweeted it. I'm like, it's probably not going to happen. And then it happened. And then it was Carcone, and I just mentioned it.
It was awesome.
All right, so what do you expect the rest of the year? What's your hope?
Well, hopefully we can make the playoffs. It would be a dream come true if they did. If they don't, still just a great thing that we've had them here for this first year and look forward to the next season. But hopefully we can get some points and make it to the playoffs. That's my hope.
Okay, and you're re-upping for next season? Season tickets again?
Yeah, I re-up, so we'll see. Hopefully we can move our seats around, get closer to family, and hopefully that works out. So we'll see, but we are in.
All right, now we're going to – Bryce, will you grab the camera? Now we're going to put Liv on the spot here. Liv Mannek, tell us a little bit about what this has been like for you to come to all these games with. Were you a hockey fan before, or were you just forced into it?
I mean, kind of with my whole family playing hockey was just kind of something that I've grown up with my whole life, and so to see something like this come to Utah is just amazing. And like for my dad, it makes me so happy that he gets to experience this, and like my mom, because they've been around it for so long, and so it's been awesome.
And every time I see you guys, and when I see you, you're smiling, and I know you're always smiling anyway, but it seems like you're having a good time. Like if your parents aren't bringing you, are you coming anyway?
Sometimes it just depends. I get busy with school, but I try to make it to as many games as I can because it's so fun.
Who's your favorite player?
Probably Kraus.
Really? All right. I got to give a shout out to Lawson Kraus because my daughter was in town last week, and we're like, I got to get some tickets, and Lawson Kraus gave her tickets.
Aww.
So
he's a nice guy. He gave me a puck at the Vegas game when we went to Vegas.
Very cool. Thank you. All right. Now coming back, let's talk about the Utah Hockey Club. And man, what an amazing game last night. Who got to go? Well, Ben, you didn't get to go.
You get to go.
I was there.
Mace, you were there.
Yeah.
I was there. To watch the game against the Ducks, but then 3 nights ago, the game against the Toronto Maple Leafs. That has to be one of the loudest nights at the Delta Center ever.
Top 5 games of the year, I think.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, what a freaking game! And I got a little maybe I don't know, over emotional. Maybe they should take. You know how some people get their Twitter taken away when they've had too many drinks? I think I need my Twitter taken away when I'm watching hockey and I get overly appreciative and emotional about how amazing this all is. And to watch them go from down 3-0 to tying it, I didn't even care that they lost. Like when it went to a shootout, nothing against Veggie. This has nothing to do with Veggie. When it went to a shootout, I was like, well, you know, at least we got that point because I knew we were going to lose the shootout because our defense dominated that game. And then the shootout takes out our defense. And then you've got 3 of the top scoring forwards in the NHL. They're gonna put in a couple shots, right? So you guys have had a chance to look as we move forward. We have Seattle tonight, and because this is a Friday, as all you guys know, it's not Thursday night. So this Friday we play Seattle in Seattle, and it's all points are important, right? As you guys look at the schedule, Mace, let's start with you this time. As you look at the schedule And as you look at what's going on with the Utah Hockey Club and how everybody's healthy now, and we just seem to be like a legit contender. If we would have been this way the whole time, I think we'd be above par, right?
I agree.
Mike Volta, the play-by-play for Utah Hockey Club, was on our show at KSL the other day, and he said, how boring would it be to be in the top of the division and not go to the rink every game or watch every game wondering how it was going to go and needing every point at this point. But I think we'd be close if we were healthy all year. But Mason, what's your analysis of where we are now, and what do you think happens over the next 15 games?
I guess so. To start, something super positive you see is like, to win championships or to even make the playoffs, you need secondary scoring, and that's starting to click, right? Carconi scored against Toronto. McBain, that third line's been awesome for them. They're getting that secondary scoring, and it's like really been the difference maker, I think. Their schedule's tough. Like I'm looking at it right now. Seattle, who's just below us. I don't know how far, but I know they're not too far. And then we got Vancouver, and they're in it with us, right? The exciting thing is that as they're playing meaningful games this time of year, is that the young kids are showing up, and you could tell like the drive to make it is there. It's just like every game's important. Every game's a playoff game at this point, and the way that everyone at the team's reacting has been super exciting to watch for us. And then like obviously like the future is going to be awesome. And then the next month is going to be some of the best hockey to watch, I think.
Ben, what have you been thinking? Are you following the team there, or are you just a Lightning fan now?
Well, I mean, I go to a lot of games here. Let's put it that way. But no, I've been following the team a bit. I mean, looking at the schedule, like I actually thought they were a little bit further behind than they are. I mean, they're right in the mix. They're a point, 2 points out. The schedule coming up though is going to be tough. You have like some must-win games against teams like the Kraken, who are 9 points behind you. Like you have to win those. Canucks, Oilers, Sabres have to win that. Then you got Tampa in Utah, and then the next week you come down here and have Tampa. I mean, you got the Wings, the Panthers. Like they're not going to be a lot of easy games down the stretch, other than like the Blackhawks. You got in a couple weeks. But other than that, like everyone's in the mix. So Utah's been really fun to watch. Like I try to stay up late and watch those games. They're usually not on till like 10 or 10:30 my time, but they're a lot of fun. Like the first two lines, super skilled, really fast. And yeah, that third line with McBain, Carconi, like I mean, they get the puck in deep and they just make the corner.
Bill, what are you thinking, man? What are you thinking as far as what you're seeing and what you're hoping?
I'm seeing a lot of good things. One, every team's as good as their turnovers, and the things that the Utah Hockey Club are doing with their turnovers, they're picking up their own garbage. Sergachev with that kick save in the freaking crease. That's like the defensive play of the year. Come on.
That's the goal. I think that's the save of the year, honestly.
Yeah. And but it shows a lot of what this team's learned about each other. They've got each other's backs. They're picking up their own garbage, and turnovers aren't costing them like they did in the beginning of the season. And so I think they're playing really healthy right now, and that's they've got everybody scoring that should be scoring. Gunther's scoring game-winning goals like he should be. I was at the game where he scored the goal with 1 second left in overtime. So, and that was his first game back.
Top three of the entire NHL in game-winning goals.
Yeah, and I think with this healthy team, and like like we said, they're young now, and I think they're in a much better position than they were last year, the same time last season. So I see good things from them. But again, they got a hard schedule, and they're in the hunt, and they don't need to be the hunted. They need to be the ones that are hunting. And so I think that's a good position for them to be in, and I have high hopes. I think they're in a great spot, and it's all up to them. And if they can continue to do what they're doing, I think we're going to see some playoff hockey here in Utah.
Hope so.
Man, as crazy as the Delta Center has been for the regular season, can you imagine playoff hockie in the Delta Center in year one?
It would be sick.
I've gone over the schedule over and over and over and over again. I've also gone over the rest of the remaining games for Calgary, Vancouver, and St. Louis. That's what matters right now. And I keep looking at it, and I said, if we win 10, we're in. That's a big ask. But then when I look at it, I'm like, I think if just based on healthy roster to healthy roster, which Vancouver just they're getting more healthy. So But if you just look at the rosters, you think, all right, I think 9 of the 10 would be expected wins for us at this point. Maybe I'm
Yeah.
maybe I'm a little more biased than I should be. I was trying to really take a look at just I think we should beat teams. Like I thought we'd beat the Ducks by a couple more last night, even though the Ducks had kind of walked through us before. But we're healthy. We're a different team than we were before. And it just looked to me like, yeah, I think we got 9 of the 10. We just need to steal a couple. And we need those other teams have to play Florida, Tampa. They have to play hard games too. And then they also have to play us. One thing that's been really fun for me is watching this battle of goal scoring between Keller and Gunther. I mean, Keller's running away with points, right? He's one of the top 10 in the NHL in points. But to see these guys every night, like last night I was watching, like who's going to score the next goal because that'll put them in lead. And Gunner comes through. So as we stand right now, Keller with 23 goals, Gunther with 24, and Cooley with 17. Pretty impressive, especially when you consider how young Cooley and Gunther are. For me, the difference has been line 3. And it's blown my mind to see the development of Josh Doan from the beginning of the season, getting sent back down to the A, and then being pulled back up, and just watching how he's just the right player, and you can see him getting better. And then with Lawson Krause on his line, I think it's helped Lawson be better. I think Lawson helps Doan be better. And then with McBain in the middle, he's just a little freaking he's just an engine. You wind him up and put him, and then everybody else goes with him. He just does everything right. He checks. He's so aggressive on the forecheck. Mason, what stood out to you this year? You mentioned the scoring from not your top prospects. What stood out to you this year, or especially in just the last 5 games?
Yeah, last 5 games. I'll go back to that Toronto game. They're building energy off of themselves, and like that game didn't start out hot, right? Like down 3-0. Then that big fight from Kessering, that game switched like that. So I think they understand like the way they need to play, and when that doesn't happen, it seems like they always have someone stepping up to get that engine going, like you said. So I think in that aspect, it's been good. And then like I kind of touched on, the secondary scoring has been awesome. And then I don't know if we mentioned this last time we were on or not, but I think it was right around the time that Keller got snubbed from the U.S. team. And ever since then, he's been just dynamite, like everything you'd want in a captain, leading by example, putting points up, playing hard. And I think that's why they're in the position they're in, playing meaningful games right now.
Yeah, and meaningful games at this point of the season is what we were after, and it's what I was saying. Preseason, everybody was asking me when I'd go on, and they're like, "Hey, it's the NHL Insider, and are we going to make playoffs?" And I said, "Man, I think so." And then after the Sergachev trade, I'm like, "Yeah, we're gonna make playoffs. They just fixed their problem." But then I didn't expect to lose Jersey and Marino, and so it's so much fun. Like it's just so much fun to watch, and I think we have so much talent. Ben, what's been standing out to you when you watch these games? What players are standing out to you from what you see?
I love Sergachev. Like I love watching Sergachev play. Like he's like your standard Russian player, but on defense. Like looks like he doesn't care at all, but he gets pissed off like sometimes. And his shot's unbelievable. Like he's had a couple goals this year where he just got it mid slot, ripped it shelf. But he's just like cool, calm, and collected on D, and that's what they need. And honestly, watching Tampa now without him has been kind of nuts because like who was it? I went to the game the other day and Hedman was out. They were terrible on defense.
Yeah.
Chernak he's a big dude, but he doesn't pick it up. Like they've got a couple like okay guys, like Moser, who they got from Arizona, is good, but he stands.
Well, they got Geeky too, right? Have you seen Geeky play?
Yeah, I've seen him play a bunch. He got sent down. He's been down for like a month or two now, but I think that was good for him. Like he was good when he was up. He gets puck a lot, but he just wasn't scoring. But honestly, like watching them, it's been cool to see Logan Cooley this year, like really come on, get a lot of points. Like, he's awesome to watch, and I'm glad to see like Schmaltz started scoring a lot of goals because I'm a big Blackhawks fan, and they traded him, and like I know like up until what like November, December, like he scored his first goal, and now he's got 15. So I really like watching those two, and yeah, I mean Keller's just sick. Keller is he's just so fast, and he's got a great shot. He's good on the power play. So yeah,
It was funny watching him and play against Turner last night because there's a lot of similarities in their game, the way they hold on to the puck and set up when they go into the zone. And Keller is a phenomenal passer.
yeah,
That's what blows my mind that he's our leading goal scorer right now because that guy, I think shooting is his third option. I think he looks to I think he looks to pass, and then he looks for another pass, and then he's like, okay, I'll shoot, and then he scores. So he's just
51 assists. So
yeah. I mean, he's tearing it up.
yeah.
So Bill, all right, what are you seeing this year? Who's standing out to you? Who's your top two guys for the Utah Hockey Club this year?
I'm a McBain guy too. I just like the way he plays. He just the energy he brings to the ice, and he's got that. He goes out for a shift, and he doesn't leave anything on the ice. He just puts it all out there. And I like Kesselring too. I'm a huge Sergachev fan. I mean, just the things he does on the ice, like you said, he's just cool as a cucumber. But he does these things that only crazy people can do. Like I'm still stuck on that kick save in the freaking net. It's probably the save of the year, but I like the way they're playing. I like how they're well rounded as a team right now. They've got the right physicality, they've got the right skill. They're deep on the bench, especially with their third line, like you guys have been mentioning. And I think they've got the elements of moving forward and hopefully getting this wild card spot. And um, I think they're doing all the right things. And again, you compare it to last year where they were at, and it's pretty much the same team. And I think they're a completely different team. And I think the crowds and the Utah fans getting behind them and literally lifting them up on their shoulders, like, has been a huge help for them. They've mentioned it in any of their interviews, and they've got the heart that they need to continue doing this. And if they can keep everything that they're doing right now, I think they're going to have a good postseason, hopefully.
You mentioned the fans, and the fans got together last night at the game and got a bunch of they all wrote cards or letters to Connor Ingram and
What a sad
just in support. And we brought that up. Belle Frazier, who is the beat reporter for the Salt Lake Tribune, she brought that up to Coach Torini at the end. She's like, "Had you heard this?" He said, "No, that gives me chills." And
Yeah.
he's like, "Kudos to them, and that means a lot." And that's one of the reasons we love playing here. Like, our fan base is so supportive, and um, I think I said it during the Toronto game when we went down 0-3, and I said if we come back again, this is why I should have my phone taken away. We're down 3-0, and I said, and I didn't say if. I said when we come back for this will solidify every fan of this team and show them what we can do. It'll also solidify the team in showing them what they can do to come back against a giant like that. So the fan base here has just been amazing, and everything it all seems like it's too good to be true. We're going to take another quick break right now. I'm going to we're going to do another quick fan spotlight. This is Trent Hess, who has a Clean Hits podcast. And so this is different. This is him. He was an Arizona Coyotes fan, a Phoenix Coyotes fan, whatever you want to call him. He's been a Coyotes fan his whole life. That was what him and his wife, whose name is Jess Hess, this was what they did. They dated. They went to Coyotes games, and they love the Coyotes. And then we yanked the Coyotes away from them. And a lot of fans got bitter about it. And they said, nope, we're not bitter. This is our new thing. We're Utah Hockey Club fans. And so they came out, they drove out, and they documented the whole trip. They hit Bryce Canyon and Grand Canyon and everything. And anyway, this is them right now. And what a great interview, and just great to talk to Trent and his family. All right, I'm here with Trent Hess. Trent, tell me a little bit about your journey. You're an original fan.
Oh, that's right. All the way back to 1996. Yes, sir. So
Really?
watched 90% of the Yotes games they ever played, been to the majority of their playoff series, huge diehard fan. And when the team moved up, hockey's such a big part of our family. Both these guys play. My two sons here, Elliot and Caleb, on an 8U and a 10U team that I coach, actually. So
Are they the junior Coyotes still, or are they?
So that's a little higher up.
Okay,
That's like
alright.
the AAA, AA. So these guys are just youth hockey.
Any goalies? Too smart. I get it. Too smart. I get it. You're well put together. I get it.
They like goals. They like to score the goals.
All the glory.
Yeah. So, when the team picked up stakes and moved up here to Salt Lake, we never hesitated. We were super excited to follow them, and it's been a great excuse to have a wonderful road trip through Arizona and Utah to get here today. Yeah.
So I following your little journey to get here, it seems like, is this one of your first times to Utah?
Never been to Utah before. This is our first time. Yeah.
So Bryce Canyon, all the fun stuff. Is it extra special that it's hockey and it's with your family and it's still kind of the Coyotes?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think, we still love all the players that we loved when they were Coyotes. We fully support them now. And, hey, Elliot here's a 4th grader, so we had a National Parks Pass. It's spring break for the kids, so it was perfect timing that, all 4th graders get a Parks Pass, right? So we were able to go to Grand Canyon, Bryce Canyon. We're going to go to Arches tomorrow, so we're super excited, yeah.
Very nice. And so what do you think about all this? Were you a big Coyotes fan?
Not really, but I just started really liking hockey just a couple of years ago, and when I started watching hockey, when the Coyotes moved.
Oh, really? So is Utah going to be your first real favorite team, or do you have a different favorite team?
I like the Utah Hockey Club. They're my team.
And what about you? Who's your favorite team?
Utah.
Utah. We didn't program them to say that, right? I guess they truly are fans.
See, he hesitated a little bit because we're in a bit of a conundrum. His 8U team is actually called the Ducks. So I'm actually a coach of the Ducks as well. So we've got a little bit of conflict of interest here, but that's okay. We're here to support Utah all the way, not the Ducks at all. But it's been fun to run into people that we know from online. I got to see Austin Facer from SLC Puck over at Crown Burgers. He's a good friend of ours, fan of his show too, as well as yours, Jay. He's been on our podcast, the Clean Hits podcast, a couple of times.
So was your Clean Hits podcast, did you cover Arizona, or did you start that when the team moved?
Just started it when they moved, yeah. And it's been a lot of fun. It's taken off. We've been fortunate enough to have a handful of Utah Hockey Club players and prospects on the show and stuff like that. So just having a ton of fun with that. And it's been great to meet some of the people here that I know from the podcast and from online, yeah.
Very cool. All right, and tell us a little bit about your journey with this. Were you a hockey fan? Start with your name, since I didn't ask first. And then tell us, were you a hockey fan before? Are you a hockey fan now? And what does this mean for your family to take this trip?
Well, my name is Jess. I was a hockey fan pretty much since I met him. We met to many Coyotes games before kids. But I would say with the boys, I started watching more since they've moved. And now that my kids are playing hockey, it's a lot more fun to watch.
Is it Jess Hess?
Jess Hess, Julia, like the wedding singer, yeah.
I'm like, did I hear that right? All right, so tell me, it seems like you guys bonded more since they moved. We've had a lot of fans that have been super bitter, and I know when I said they're still kind of the Coyotes, I'm going to get a lot of hate for that. But, I mean, these guys most of them were drafted as Coyotes. They've been raised as Coyotes or as Roadrunners, so in the system. And Jess, back to you, has it just been more of a kind of like, hey, this happened to us and we're going to embrace it and embrace it as a family?
Yeah, we loved the Coyotes, so this is our team now.
Very cool. So what's coming up next for you? How can we find your podcast? And tell us a little bit about what your podcast is like.
Yeah, so it's at Clean Hits Hockey. You can find us on X, Apple Podcasts, anywhere. We've got a great free fan Discord as well. That's always popping for game night, so come in and join the chat. We've had Jack McBain on the show. We've had Michael Kesselring, Cole Baudouin, Thomas Lavoie, Matt McConnell's been on the show. It's just a few diehard Coyotes fans who've made the switch, embraced it fully, and are trying to do our best to follow the team from afar and help contribute to the community and the culture around the Utah Hockey Club as best we can from Arizona.
Awesome. Love the attitude. Thanks for your time. Go enjoy the game. All right, now coming back, we're going to talk about the Utah Grizzlies, but it's going to be in a weird way. So The Utah Grizzlies are struggling, and the fans are mad about it. And Mason, you're the expert on this one. A former Utah Grizzly. Well, Ben, you got a game with the Grizz too, right?
I sat the bench for Vegas one time.
Oh yeah, for Vegas. That's
Did
right.
you
That
really?
counts.
Yeah, I got a
Oh, I
couple
didn't know that.
warm ups. I was
There you
fun.
go.
For some reason, I thought you got a shift or two, but
No,
no, it makes sense. It makes sense.
It was
that
a
they left
long
you on the-
game.
Yeah, it makes sense they left you on the bench. Believe me, I know how long those games are. I've sat
Yeah.
a lot of them on the bench.
I've worked countless ones and filled countless water bottles. So
Oh yeah. So I get mad when I see fans on the Utah Grizzlies pages ripping on the Utah Grizzlies or demanding change or demanding, and they're like, we need to fire our coach. We need to do this and that. And I'm like, first off, Kanasowicz is a freaking amazing coach. And I've been around the group. I've been in that locker room. This is my 27th year in that locker room as an e-bug. And I can tell you, we've had a lot of coaches come through, and I haven't only just e-bugged for the Grizzlies, but I've e-bugged for basically every other team in the East Coast League, not to mention like 15 in the AHL, and 3 in the NHL at this point. And so the experience I have is just a guy in the locker room. Granted, I don't have a ton of pro playing experience, but I see Ryan Kanasowicz as a master craftsman, as somebody that really knows how to manage the lines and help players grow as players. And when you look at what's happening with the Colorado Eagles right now, they just took over first place in the Pacific Division last night. With the amount of injuries they've had and with the amount of injuries the Colorado Avalanche have had this year, you have to give Ryan Kanasowicz some credit for that. You have to give the Utah Grizzlies some credit for that because they're the ones putting players into that position. And Mason, maybe you can tell us a little bit on the inside what it's like, your views on Kanasowicz, and with this losing season, like we're not going to make playoffs, right? And fans are upset. What's your message to the fans?
Yeah, I like that question because being a part of that league and that team for however long I was, the turnaround in that league is just crazy. Like I think I've mentioned that on the show before, but like I don't think it's like fathomable because you will start your training camp with 25 guys, and then by April, 23 of those guys are gone. And then that goes back into Ryan, where he's the one that has to go find that next player or whatever. And then you talk about injuries, guys get called up. And I actually ran into the team. We went out one night and just happened to run into him. And I had a buddy that plays on the team, and I was kind of talking to him about it. And he was telling me the same thing, how a lot of their guys are up right now. And that's kind of the reason for the struggle. But when you have guys that go up, that means your team's different. You got to bring new guys in, and then you talk about like the chemistry thing, and you got to like build that all on the fly. So obviously I've said like I love Ryan. He's literally like I think my favorite coach I ever played with, and I think that comes from his playing experience because he knows how to run a team because that's how he would have wanted it when he was playing. And like I don't think people ever realize like the job that an East Coast Hockey League coach has because he's not just a guy to put power play units out. Like he has to be behind the bench for a game, find places for the boys to eat, find plane rides and all of this stuff, and then find like new players. And if you guys followed the team, like I followed like semi close this year. Like I'm not gonna lie, I haven't been like too in touch with it. But what I have seen is that there's new guys being traded in or coming in from college or whatever, and it seems like it's like somewhat consistent. And that just speaks to his testament because he has to find those guys, right? And it's not easy in a year that like they're having, but they'll turn it around.
There's a lot of talk about that's a big thing you just said that he's your favorite coach you've ever played for because you also played for Utah head coach or Utah Hockey Club head coach Andre Torini. So that's a big statement. I want people to know that you're not just powder in the donut right there. You're speaking. But looking at this too, Just so the Utah Grizzlies fans realize this, because everybody's like, we need to break the affiliation right now and go with Utah Hockey Club. Well, the Utah Hockey Club affiliation in the East Coast League is the Allen Americans, who are in last place in our division. So they're doing worse than the Grizzlies, just so everybody's aware. And then in the American League, Tucson's doing okay. Colorado's in first with 32 wins. Tucson has 27 wins. Similar, but just so the fans know, Ben, you've been around the Grizzlies for a long time. You've been there when they've won. You've been there when they've lost. What would you say to the fans about what's going on right now?
I mean, very similar to Mason, there's guys moving in, moving out. Like, I mean, I can't tell you how many guys' bags I packed up for him in that locker room, and they get sent up. And to be honest, like, you hope they don't come back. Like, you want to see them get sent up. You want to see them do well. You want to see guys progress, and then you see the coaches, they just have to fill spots. They get bubble guys. Like the game I sat for Vegas, they pulled 3 guys up from our Park City team at the time. Like, I know Anders Johnson has played for them, I think it was this year or last year.
Last year. Yep.
But I would say to the fans, like, go to the games, enjoy it, and support the team. Like, they need your support. Unfortunately, the AHL team matters a little bit more than the ECHL team, and that's where they pull guys from. And if there's injuries, like, guys get their chance. Like, that is their opportunity to go up, and it's not like they're hoping for it or anything, but like they want to go up and not come back. So I would just say, like, go to the games, have fun, support the team, like, asking for the coach's head in an ECHL, like, come on, like, just relax. I don't think they understand what's going on behind the scenes. And like what Mason said, like, Ryan's wearing 10 different hats, and I've been in there while he's been coaching, and I've been in there while he was playing. He was an unbelievable player. Like, isn't he like one of the leading points?
He is the all-time leading scorer for the Utah Grizzlies.
Yeah, he knows the game. He knows the game. Like, he's a great guy on and off the ice. So, like, go support them, have a good time. If they don't win, that's okay. Like, go have fun with your family and support the players. Like, they need your support more than anything, because it's not like those guys are making a lot of dough.
Yeah, great.
They're
that's
not,
true.
I
They definitely need your support.
Yeah, Mason.
Mason knows. Mason's like, I make more on my student loans than I did making. So, Bill, what do you think? What would you say about what's going on with the Utah Grizzlies, and what would you tell the Grizzlies fans right now?
I've been a fan of the Grizzlies since they first came here from Colorado. I was at one of the first games. So I think what it shows is our fans are still learning the game of hockey. They don't understand a lot of the behind the scenes stuff like we do. And so they have a lot to learn. And I think I'm glad the Utah Hockey Club is here, because it's going to enrich a lot of that, especially in our groups we have. I see people making comments. But then what I also see right on top of it is guys like not getting mad at them or pissed off. But I think what they do is they come in and they say, hey, this is the way it should be, and are really teaching these fans the way that things are. And so hopefully they'll be able to watch this and say, in the end, you got to support the team. And once you learn how the workings of the teams goes, it's just like the B's and what the A's, how they pull players up and down. It works the same way. And I think once the fans realize that and start to fall in love with the players that play here and come to watch them, and then also kind of cradle up the new players that come in and follow their careers, I think once the hockey maturity levels happen with the Utah fans, I think it's going to get better with the Grizzlies. But I'm a Grizzly fan. I will be my whole life. I've been watching them play since they got here. I was excited when they came. And I'm excited. I'm hoping they get to stay here too. I know there's a lot of issues going on with contracts and stuff, but who cares? But they're selling season tickets for next year. So go buy a season ticket. Like, support the Grizzlies. And in the end too, if you can't afford to go watch a Utah Hockey Club game, what a great way to watch real hockey and real professional athletes and go see the Grizzlies play too.
I see that all the time. Like,
Yep.
Utah, it's hard to get into a Utah Hockey Club game. You can get those obstructed view occasionally for $10, but everything else is 150 and up. Go pay movie prices to go watch the Utah Grizzlies. It's professional hockey. A lot of those guys played with Utah Hockey Club guys and juniors in college. You're
They
seeing
did.
it's just
We've
the X
got
factor.
we got 2 Tampa guys. Well, there's a guy I met while I was down here last summer. Cole Gallant is playing for the Grizzlies. And then there was also a guy who played a few years back. His name is Miles Harvey. I think he played a handful of games. He's a Tampa guy. So yeah, that was kind of cool. They were like, "Oh, you were there," and I was like, "Dude, I probably like hung your jersey up in your stall."
Yeah, it's amazing, and they're I mean that's what it is, right? It's a feeder to the AHL, which is a feeder to the NHL, and it's been fun, and that's as we wrap this up, that's what I want to say about hockey. And I get it. And some of the fans that are calling for the head of the coaches, they're not fans that are new to hockey, but they're fans that are passionate and they get angry when their team doesn't win. And when their team doesn't make playoffs, they expect changes. And I get that. I get the passion. I've been there, but I just know that things are going the way they're supposed to be going. It doesn't always work out for you in the East Coast League. We've had Jordan Prezy on the show who was just he admitted that he was flabbergasted basically when he was in the AHL and he found out the coaching staff and the GM for the New Jersey Devils, which owned him at the time, did not care if the AHL team or even he as a goalie won or lost. What they cared about was the experience he was getting and was he getting shaped up for the NHL. So it sucks if you're that AHL fan that's like, oh, they didn't care that they pulled up our top scorer and they didn't even dress him for the game. He was just there because one of their guys was hurt. And I know that's one of the things that's been going on with Colorado this year is if somebody gets hurt in the abs and maybe won't play, they immediately pull somebody up from the Eagles anyway, and then the Eagles immediately pull somebody up, even though the roster might not change, but it might. So your top guy in the A and your top guy in the ECHL are in the stands or they're on the fourth line. So
Yep.
that stuff happens, and that's hockey. As we're getting out of here, Bill, tell us what's going on with the Utah Outliers and how can we help and support and how can we come watch a Utah Outliers game?
Yeah, so the playoffs are getting ready to start for the NCDC Western Division. So right now we're in third place, right behind Ogden, the Mustangs, and it's looking likely that that's going to be our matchup against them. And so it'll be a great rivalry in state. So you can go to see the games. You can go to UtahOutliers.com and check out our schedule. Tickets are available there. But I encourage everybody to support all levels of hockey in Utah. And junior hockey. It's amazing. We're junior A tier 2 hockey and it's just phenomenal to watch these kids play. It's exciting hockey. It's just, it's along those lines of watching the Grizzlies. It's a higher level of hockey, and you're going to be entertained, and you get to watch a great sport on top of that. So, yeah, playoffs start on the 27th of April, or sorry, the 27th of March, and then go until with the national championship sometime at the end of April. I believe on the 27th. So
Amazing.
I
UtahOutliers.com.
also would be a bad husband if I didn't say happy birthday to my wife. So
Nice.
happy birthday to my wife, Lisa.
Nice. Happy birthday, Lisa. Mason, what do you got going on? What can we promote for you?
I just recently started that organizing company, so that's been my biggest thing as of recent. We go in and just organize for companies, inventory, all that stuff, get their stuff in check so they can save some money and quit overbuying stuff, and then residentially make their houses look real nice. So that's been my my latest thing.
Awesome. How do we book you? How do I book you to come do my garage? Do you have a website?
You can call me anytime. No website yet. No, we're on socials though.
What's it
we're on
called?
socials. It's the company's Endless Organized Solutions. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all that good stuff. Shoot me a message on there, and we can get you in, no problem. Jay, you can just text me.
Endless Organized Solutions. I wanted to say it slower. All right, Ben. What are you promoting in there in Florida? Just sunset. You want us to do this by the pool next time, right?
Yeah. Next time out by the pool. I don't know. Everybody come down to Tampa. Come visit.
I understand that you have guest rooms in case we're coming to Disney World.
I do, and I got a full gym in the garage. So you want to play some beer league? I shout out my teams, the Whalers, the Outcasts. We'll let you sub for a game.
I don't know if you've seen the highlights that I've been posting on the Utah Puck Report social medias from Halloran tearing it up. Halloran and Brickley
Yeah.
in Finland.
I talk to Nicky almost every single day. So,
Nice.
yeah, it's
Nice.
been awesome to see those guys doing really well. Nicky actually got engaged. Bricks is engaged too. So
Saw that, yeah.
Really cool to see that. Like I've known Nicky since he was a baby. So that was really cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. We've got other things we're going to talk about. First, shout out to Park City High School for winning their back-to-back high school championship. I think it was pretty much in the bag from day one. And I'm not ripping on Brighton. Just Park City has built a very solid program up there. They're well financed. They have good coaching, and that's hard to compete with when you're not as well financed or well structured. They put a lot of emphasis on that. I think if any other high school had the same emphasis, we'd have more competitive hockey here. And I think those things are going to change. Things are changing. We're going to talk about that coming up too. Even at the county rec level, things are changing. They're trying to implement what we've been talking about for a long time, as far as having like an all-star team per rink. So we're going to get into all that stuff in upcoming episodes. We're going to keep covering the Utah Hockey Club. We're going to keep covering the Utah Grizzlies and the Utah Outliers and the Ogden Mustangs. Bill, we got you covered. Mason, thank you so much for joining us. I know it's takes a lot of time out of your day. Ben, I know you're just free all day. You don't really do anything.
I don't really do much. I'm retired down here.
That's the only reason you go to Florida, I hear.
Yeah.
Bill, thanks again for your knowledge and for all you do for the Outliers. And we'll come talk about it and support you guys as well.
Sounds like the panel's going to Florida next pod.
I think KSL could foot that, Bill.
Yeah, I'll bring that up at the next business meeting. I haven't had a business meeting yet with KSL. I don't even know if they know I work there, but we'll do it pretty soon. And that is the Utah Puck Report.